Okay, guys, as many of you asked for it on Instagram, we're going to do the Char B1 BIS tank build with me today. I got this tank just recently and I really actually don't need it necessarily, but you know, it's like plastic crack and you have to get all the tanks at all the points of time, even if they're only captured. So this is it. As usual, it comes in this Warlord Games box. We already prepared our X-Acto knife, our nipper, plastic glue, and let's have a look inside the box. On the rear of the box, you can see the French pattern, different commanders that are included. What's really cool, you can build the Flammpanzer version of it. So it has these small turrets. Also, the Flamingo has them. They were the 1.4 centimeter flamethrowers. Some really cool new commanders. You can see them here standing in the hatch. And a late Panzerkampfwagen B2 with a flamethrower. I think it looks a little bit different here. I don't actually know how I should build mine, but I'll decide that along the way. But I already know that I will build a Flammenwerfer version and not the microscopic little light howitzer thingy in the hull, which is super weird. But you know, it's a really early version, so I think at the beginning of the war it was perfectly fine to experiment with such things. So let's look inside. This is what we get. Plastic, obviously, and assembly and painting guide. I really like that Warlord Games produces now these little booklets. We also have stat cards. Well, I think by now you know my attitude towards it. So some decals, French and German on one decal sheet, and look how amazing they are. I hope the autofocus works. It really doesn't work. Okay, so we have to deal with that now. It's really, really, really cool. The spades and all the card emblems that the French used, I think that's really amazing. And that would also be a reason for me to actually build a French army, French tank platoon. However, the tanks are on the average pretty crap, so maybe not. The flyer as usual, and does anyone really need these damage markers? I appreciate that they put them in, but if they put them in, I think this is not enough to create a suitable damage marker. So if they will put them in, please do that completely. Let's open it up. I know you're not supposed to cut plastic wrap with your X-Acto knife because it gets bold with it, but my knife is so worn out. I think that's fair. We already have one part that's broke out of the sprue, and it's number 70. I think that's part of the cupola. Let's see what we have here. First, we can see it's huge. Look at how long these tracks and how long the hull is. We can put something to compare next to it. Yeah, why not? So let's compare how long it is, for example, with the Sturmhaubitze. Well, it's large, I think. The track length is also significant. I think this will be a cool vehicle. Here we have those side panels. The hull, lower hull, the turret, the commanders. In the lastly, I built all the commanders I had all the time. So let's see if I keep doing that. have an idea what I gotta do with the Frenchy one. Maybe. Okay, not point of the discussion right now. So this is what we get in this bruise, and let's go to the assembly. Okay, I think I'm still having issues with my autofocus, but that's not your problem now. Well, it kinda is, but you have to cope with that, or you can, yeah, wait for the next video. Doesn't matter. We're building this tank now, and we start with part A, which is the left track. I think it's the left one. We need part 2, 46 and 74. 46 is that road wheel here, and as you so kindly reminded me to use my clipper, I'll do so now. Okay. Part 74 is the large one here. And we need part 2, that's that one. Get all the grades off, all the... That's something I just realized with my last build, the 88. If you build it, you have to take care of those remnants on the barrel. They really look crappy when you work with inks, because then you can really see them very well, and yeah, that's kind of the downside. Yet again, we have another type of plastic here. This is yet another plastic that Warlord Games did not use so much before. It's more like the Rubicon plastic. It's a little bit more sturdy. Also, you can see, don't hate me for that, but you can kind of bend it a little bit more. Yeah, I think we're up to a big conspiracy here. So part 74 and 46 go on top of each other, like so. You really can't do it wrong here, because there's a flat side, so it will work anyway. And then, this is interesting, put some glue here, 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 and now I have to take a look. Should have probably done that before. Okay, this goes above, like this. So we'll add some more glue here. Okay, make sure it's aligned here really well. Here, if you do a mistake here, it's not that bad, because the tracks are going on top of it anyway. And this is exactly what we're doing now. We need track part 44, 38, this is 38, 44, 37, which is this one, and 43, which is this one. Nice and easy. So I think it's kind of cool if you build these other projects that you don't really need for, you won't really play that often. In that regard, I'm considering myself more than as a collector than a gamer, because for my Germans, I have the mission to own every German tank there is. So let's see if I'm able to do that. Here, interesting, there are some cutouts, and you can snap fit it on top. That's nice. That's actually a good idea. And as you can see, you really can't do it wrong. So don't worry about that. That's what I most dislike with any other model is assembling the tracks, because there's always an issue. It never perfectly fits, and then there's something hanging over here, or it looks weird when the front connectors are assembled. So I really don't like those. And of course, always double check if you're putting it in right. But this looks kind of correct, doesn't it? Then here we use the small one. And yet again, we can't really do it wrong because, yeah, it's symmetrical. So I think Warlord does great progress towards customer-friendly models. I think they're really doing well there. Okay, here you can actually do it wrong, but you don't have to. Okay, just make sure they all align really well in this part, so that you don't have them move to the front or to the side. And then we have the first part of the tracks ready. So let's do that again. This time I'll just cut out all the parts, because that saves us some time. And I don't want to spend too much time on cutting out parts and putting them away and getting them back in my hand and so on and so on. So keep your time efficient. At the moment, I'm quite satisfied, because I've just recently finished my last model for my tournament army. Next Saturday, I'm playing another tournament, and this time I'm going for a tank platoon. I've never done that before in a tournament, so I'm quite curious to see how that will work. What I'm running is, so I'm playing my Germans, obviously. Like the last time, I'm always playing my Germans. I think I have to get out my Americans someday soon again. And I'm playing the generic tank platoon. I was thinking about getting a heavy tank platoon or something like that, but that would be kind of cheesy, and I would have to do some mix and match, because I really don't have that much Tiger. So I would have to contain a Tiger and a Tiger 2 and stuff like that. And also in a tournament, that's not really competitive. And I know that a lot of people play their tournaments more historically accurate. I'm trying to do that in some way. But that tournament specifically is really, really cheesy. So there's little to no historical context, and there's a lot of stuff going on that you would have never seen on a real battlefield back then. So yeah, that's the reason why I've decided to go with some mid-warish tank company that will consist of 3 Panzer 38Ts, just because I've just painted them up, and y'all know that I still like those 38Ts. They're amazing. They're really dirt cheap. They perform great on the battlefield, because you can spare one, you can sacrifice one that doesn't hurt your battle plan too much, but your enemy really can't ignore them, because they're capable of dealing with light armor and infantry. So that's versatile, and yeah, that's the reason why I ran 3 regulars of them. And to support them, I included, wait, now I have to think, like that. Yeah. I included a Raupenschlepper Ost, so a Pak 40. Then I have a heavy anti-tank gun. So whatever my light anti-tank guns can't penetrate, the heavy anti-tank gun will have to take care of. I know, again, Raupenschlepper Ost is not the best vehicle and the best bang for the buck because it's open and it's slow, and the Marder can do everything they can do, and they can even do it better. But I really like the model. It's so cool, you know. We've built it somewhere in the frontline workshop, and now we're driving around with something that was originally intended to be a pulling machine, and now we just bolted a gun on top and decided that this is now the way to go. Okay, more to that later. Drill out the holes in part 29 as shown below, depending on the version of the tank you want to build. Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot, Warlord. It's not like I've got a drill at hand. Should have double-checked that before, but my drill is broken, so I will have to makeshift with a sharp knife. And of course, you can always skip the drilling and just glue it on top. It's a little bit more difficult, but it works. Okay, so arrange it like that, and we have to drill out this, 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 that, this, and this and this. Oh, I got them already. Okay. This knife has a better tip. I know. I shouldn't be doing that like this, but if you don't have a drill, you have to makeshift, and to be completely honest, it still works fairly well. Like you can see, it's a perfectly round hole, so don't hate for that. Okay, this, and these two. There's the hole. Oh, that was not enough. Okay, these in the middle, they're a little bit tricky because the plastic is thicker here. But nothing we can't beat, right? Oh, fun fact, this knife, I've already got it like for 10 years now, or maybe even more. And it still works like a charm, so amazing quality. Drill a hole here. Why should I? There is already a hole. And I didn't drill that. Cool. Love it. This and this. So back to my tournament list. I've already so far three Panzer 38T, one Raupenschlepper Ost. So I've already got some firepower there, but everyone loves a Grille and a 4-inch template, so I brought that too, which means for 160 points or 155, you get a 4-inch template to just scare the crap out of your opponent. It really never has to do something, it just has to stand there and intimidate him and maybe wreck a building or something like that. So you really don't have to. Yeah. So it's cool, but it's not an auto win like a lot of people always say. And to make it even better, I brought another one. So not a Grille because I didn't have any tank slots, but a heavy howitzer drawn, horse drawn, because you have to bring tows for that, and yeah, then they will be supported by 3 squads of infantry. So nothing too fancy, but you really need infantry to win a game, right? So yeah. Okay, back to topic. We need part 8. I already cut out part, this one, I think it's 31. I guess this is 8. For the French and German tanks, assemble the model using the barrel you built on step F. Yeah, we didn't do that. For the German Flammpanzer first model, assemble the model using only part 31. No. For German Flammpanzer third model, assemble the model without any of the barrel mountings. Okay, then we spare it, and we then need part 16, which is here, and put that in. Okay. Oh, and we need part 13 too. Where's part 13? Here. Again, some cutting. And what's this one? I think I have to do a dry fit in a minute because I'm not really sure what this part is supposed to be here. I'm going to figure that out. It's a massive model. You can already see that it's going to be huge, which is really cool, I think. Okay, let's start with assembling the hull. This is the part for that side, and does this. This goes here. Okay. Or does it? This is... Okay, this is a little bit more tricky to build. Okay, this makes sense. But then we have a hole here. If we assemble it like this, we still have a hole here in the hull. I'll just trust the assembly leaflet right now and glue it into place. Even though at this point I say this feels wrong. I think this is wrong. Or it could be, at least. Aha! No, it's not. Fine. I'll show you what I've just discovered. So you put that here, this small shackle, and then these parts will align with the parts on the tracks, so that it's like I don't know how to call it. It seems like like it has been done on purpose. So let's build it like that. I'm really curious how this will turn out in the end. So far, there are some question marks in my head right now. Okay, here you can see how narrow this tank will be construction-wise, and that it. Okay, now we're gluing with very little contact. I'll just let it rest for a second. So this should be fine. Then we put in part 8 in the rear. This one is really similar to the 38T, I think, because there you also put like the hatch, if you could call it like that, in the back. And now we have to put this on top. It fits smoothly in the back and not at all in the front. Cool. Nice. Great work, Warlord. Great work. As you can see, there's a huge gap here. And I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be there, so we'll have to go there with a little force and close it. And we again play the waiting game. We can use the time and go through the assembly. Okay. Is there something that goes into detail with the third model variant? Okay. So you later on have to skip up to there, up to that page, to assemble the final tank. Cool. So we just add part 11 and part 17. 17 is the large one here. We got 11 twice here. And we have some more parts we will add later. For the moment, we'll go with this. And the parts of 11. Like that. Remember that the ring should be facing downwards. Otherwise, your tank managed to defy gravity, which is cool, but we're trying to build realistic tanks here, right? Okay, the part at the front doesn't really stick, which is annoying, so I'm getting out the super glue, which is nearly empty, but doesn't matter. For this part, it will be fine. Yeah, that would be interesting. Do you build your tank, your plastic models with super glue or with plastic glue? I'll always do it with plastic glue because I really don't like working with super glue at all. I think that's it's really annoying. At least for my part, I'm always just gluing my fingers together. And yeah, in the long run, that's not feasible at all. And again, we have to wait. Okay, you can see it's closed now, finally. Took a while, and we continue with part 15. It is the one without any notation is probably number 10. I'm not sure, but I think it's number 10. And then we need that one, that's part 28. Yeah, it can happen that you forget to put on the parts numbers, but it's not too hard to figure out what you should actually use here. Okay. Scrape off the remnants here. And like that. And now make sure that the light seems to be the upper part. So it's on top. And the shackle is the lower part. So it goes here. So that it looks like this, if you can see that. Okay. Go to the next part. Not for third model, for the French variant only. Part 3. We can add part 3. Where is it? Part 3 is here. And it looks fragile. Yeah, it is fragile. So be careful here. And we need part 65. Part 65 is in the other sprue. That's... Where is it? Here. Okay, for the next step after we did that, we have just a bunch of options we could add. So I'm not really sure if I'll do that. Maybe the entrenching stuff like this and this little flashlight. Is it a flashlight? I think it's a flashlight. Okay. Here, and we put it like this. How do we attach this one? This goes here. This goes here. This goes here. Okay, difficult. And again, we let it rest. Okay, that has settled, and we add some more of the stowage. And now I see the problem. So if you're going to build that tank and you don't want to add those utility parts, don't drill these holes. Now we have to glue them in, because otherwise we would have holes in the tank. And the small all-round light here. Okay. I think we're getting there fairly quickly, but the small parts are always the most work. So let's cut this off. And this goes here. So the axe went here, the shovel goes here. Then we have this small drilled hole here. There goes this thing. I thought it was a lamp, but I'm not sure anymore what this is supposed to be. And some more storage. Yeah, always clean your models really good before you glue them. And look twice if you got everything. Here the holes are not large enough. Drill, drill, drill. Drill, drill, drill. Much better. Okay. This works. This one's also too small. I think you need a full millimeter here, so over drilling a bit is not too bad. And we're done with the hole. Next, we assemble the turret. And it's again one of those really easy to assemble houses, turret systems. We need part 72. And that's here. If you're building without a gun, you don't need this one. That's the hull gun. We need this one. We need part 21 or 36. Let's keep it in the row. It's here. Part 19. 19. Yet again, I think it's here. here. $71. It's here. Now we're going to use pliers here. $64 and $21. 21 is here again with a large chunk of plastic on it that we have to get rid of. And 64. Again, the other sprue here. I don't assemble my turret guns so that they're traversing. I don't really see the point in that, at least in elevation. So I won't do it this time either. So this is something I'll definitely glue. I really don't care. I prefer a little bit more sturdy model over those fancy things. For gluing in part 64, make sure that you watch out for this cutout, because if you don't, the part won't fit. Okay, and then we here need part 19. This is weird gun mount. And 36. Okay. Let's build the turret with part 1. That's the lower turret. And part 6. That's the upper turret. And because we love those incredibly small details, we put in a part number 4 in there. I really can't cut them out because they are so small. Now we have to make sure that the gun mount is in the right place. Like so. And attach all of that to the turret mount ring base. I wonder why the French build weird tanks like that. Okay, and part 4. Don't forget about part 4. Oh my god. This is really small. Okay, next. Hatches can be fixed in open or closed position. French tank, German Flammpanzer first model and third model variant A. Oh, we're here. We'll definitely close that hatch because I think this would at no point be fair. Part 57. And we need 2 more of the tiny, tiny part 4. Just put it in here. This is a little bit tricky to build. But this looks fair. Yeah, cool. And of course, part 4 twice. If anyone knows what these part 4s are about, write it in the comments, please, because I would be really interested to see what they're supposed to do in real life. Put it aside. We don't need that anymore. And then we build the turret hatch. I will build that open because, especially at the capture tank, I think it's really cool if you can see it into the tank. Then we need part 67, 66. And they're so loose in the sprue that they're already falling out. And before I put them in, we let it rest a little bit so that it becomes more sturdy. Okay, we go on. And this is really tricky because now we're working with really, really small parts. Okay, cool. Let it sit a bit. Okay, it seems like we're building Model A because Model B would have different hatches. Yeah, I really don't care. We can put aside the turret remnants that we don't need anymore. Tank commander French, I think I don't need him at the moment, so I'll put him aside. I will paint both of the German commanders, however I will not glue them in there now, because then painting them becomes a pain in the ass, and I would like to skip that part where I go crazy about painting them. So I'll just put them aside, glue them on some on a pin or something like that, and then paint them separately. I already got quite a library of possible tank commanders that I can use. Okay, put the turret in with that side to the front. Okay. Good, we don't have to do anything with that now. Let it stay there. We don't put in the turret just now because we're building the Flammpanzer third model variant A. Aha, ha, ha, you're so funny. Okay, the difference between Model A and Model B is that you put the turret you built for Model B in there, and here you put the turret for Model A you built in there. So, nice. Here it becomes a little bit, we have a little bit more to do. We need this part N, and N consists of part 49 and part 22. 22 I've seen somewhere. It's a little hatch here. And whenever I'm building these very fine details, I'm tending to wait a little bit longer until I put them in, so that they don't wiggle or something like that. And that's exactly what we're doing now. That should be enough, but we'll keep it there. We need part 33. What's part 33? Where is it? 23. No, where is here? Ah, okay. And that one's going, that would be going here in the back. We didn't drill the hole for that, so we leave it. We need part 50. For the flamethrower assembly and to fill this huge gap in the hull right now, we need part 25 and part 41. And 25. Okay, align ourselves. This is top. And the mantlet yeah, now it's a little bit tricky because you want to make sure that your flamethrower is pointing straight forward, right? So you have to twist and push it a little bit. Yeah. Okay, we glue part 45 here to the front of the hull, because the Germans gave their flamethrower gunner an own vision port, and the last part will be added here. And it will be done like this. Okay, cool. Don't add the tracks when they say add the tracks at the end, because now I've blocked the assembly for the flamethrower. So I have to take this off. Great job, whoever wrote the assembly leaflet. And now we add the tracks again. Okay, so for real, don't glue the tracks in the beginning. You'll make you just create a very hard time for yourself aligning the model properly. And again, let the glue dry. And that's for the front part here. Then we just have some small leftovers to do. Take part 7. Take part 12. Part 55. Oh my god, and we have to glue in all these 32s. But before that, I'll just remove this one because we don't need it. Be really careful when you take them out. I prefer to twist and turn them by hand, because otherwise I take the risk that I cut them off and break them when I use the knife. Get off any excess. Okay. And they go in these holes. One thing I think that's really nice is that we'll be putting the recovery chain right on top of them, so we'll be really having a function there. But for that, we have to make sure that they are aligned here. Okay, and it will take a minute until that cures. I took a little bit too much glue for that size, so I'll take the time and get out the remnants here. And we're coming close to a finish. Put part 55 in here. That's not too hard. Just make sure that you scratch them off neatly, because otherwise it will look weird here. And while it dries, I prepare part 20, and that will be the last part of our sprue. And then we're done. Okay, before we attach the chain, we'll put this one in its place. You see the holes here, just attach it, really easy, like so. And the armory on this plate will go here, not like that. Like this. And we push this a little bit more. And glue here, glue there. Oh, here it becomes tricky. So close to the finish line. You really have to push it over those small 32s. I think it would have been easier to just push them through the chain like this. Yeah, that was far easier. But be careful where you touch here, Char, because some parts are really not made for sturdiness. Okay, and then I'll just wait until the glue is dried and we're done. So this is it. We're done. It was much less of a quick build. It took quite a time, but I think the model is definitely worth it, right? Really cool. Okay. Next one will probably, not promised, but probably be M36 Jackson from Rubicon models, because I want to do some things for our Americans, or my Americans. But before that, there's a tournament to play, and I hope we can put on a list discussion video shortly. Till then, see you soon, and bye.